brief. I don't know how depth they're going to go into the investigation. That was pretty fast. Yeah, 2 of them.
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming. Welcome to the beautiful San Fernando Valley and welcome to Foothill Station. My name is Captain David Grimes and I'm the commanding officer of Foothill area. I'm going to talk about a case today that's a very significant and successful case that happened last week. On Wednesday, March 20th at approximately 6 p.m., 3 gang members, Christian Reyes, Andrew Brand, and Jesus Morales, observed a 33-year-old female victim who was 11 weeks pregnant parking in front of her residence in the 10800 block of Eldora Avenue in the Sunland area of Foothill Division. The suspect surrounded her vehicle and suspect Reyes approached her and asked her to let him borrow her phone. When the victim did not give him her cell phone, Reyes punched her in the face and stabbed her multiple times with a knife as she sat in her car. Reyes forcefully pushed her out of her vehicle and continued assaulting her while suspect Brand stole property from her vehicle. Reyes and Brand then got in the victim's vehicle and Morales became a passenger in a white Volkswagen Jetta, which was stopped in the middle of the street just south of the victim's vehicle. Reyes and Brand drove away with the victim's vehicle and immediately collided with several parked vehicles on the north and south sides of the street, and the stolen vehicle was disabled. Reyes and Brand abandoned the stolen vehicle and ran from the scene. At that time, the 4th and 5th suspects, Cristina Luna and Monica Gomez, who were driving the white Volkswagen Jetta, picked up Reyes and Brand, and all 5 of the suspects drove away from the scene. The Los Angeles Fire Department was summoned and arrived within 4 minutes of receiving the call. The victim was transported by rescue ambulance to Holy Cross Hospital, where she was treated for her injuries. She sustained 11 stab wounds, and she lost 2 of her teeth. The doctors discovered that she had also sustained a punctured lung and surgery was required. Thankfully, she is going to fully recover, and her baby is also fine. Foothill officers immediately responded to the scene to investigate as a result of multiple 911 calls. The investigation moved quickly due to the assistance of the community. Very early in this investigation, the officers found a concerned citizen who provided a photograph of the suspect's vehicle depicting the license plate. A records check of the vehicle plate revealed that the vehicle had been impounded a week prior by gang enforcement detail officers from Hollenbeck area. The Foothill officers immediately contacted Hollenbeck officers to see if they knew who had been in the vehicle on the day of the impound. The Hollenbeck officers recalled the impound and were familiar with a passenger who was in the vehicle when he was impounded, whom they knew to be a gang member who lived in their area. Additionally, the primary investigating officers from Foothill located a surveillance video of the crime, which depicted the suspects and their actions during the carjacking and attempt murder. The officers quickly made still photos from the video and provided those photos to the Hollenbeck officers. The Hollenbeck gang enforcement detail officers immediately recognized the suspects and knew them to be gang members. On Thursday, March 21st, around midnight, just 6 hours after the initial crime had occurred, Hollenbeck gang officers observed 3 male Hispanics matching the description of the carjacking suspects in the area of 1400 block of Tremont Avenue. They took them into custody without incident. Foothill area officers responded to the Hollenbeck Division and transported the suspects back to Foothill for questioning. After the suspects were interviewed, it was determined that one of the 3 suspects was not involved in this crime and was released, but the 2 others were identified as Christian Reyes and Jesus Morales. On Friday, March 22nd, 1 day later, Hollenbeck officers located the involved white Volkswagen Jetta, conducted a traffic stop on the vehicle, and arrested the 3 remaining outstanding suspects, Andrew Brand, Cristina Luna, and Monica Gomez. A search warrant was written, signed by a judge, and served at Brand's home immediately. And the victim's stolen property, most of it, was recovered at that scene. The knife believed to be used in the crime was recovered from the victim's vehicle and being analyzed to confirm that fact. The suspect's vehicle was impounded and is also being analyzed for DNA, serology, prints, and other trace evidence. Foothill area gang detectives prepared all the necessary reports and presented the case to the District Attorney's Office for filing. On March 25th, after careful consideration and review, Deputy District Attorney Adan Montalban filed the following charges against the 5 arrestees. You see the charges on this poster board. I'll read them for you. Christian Reyes, attempt murder, aggravated mayhem, carjacking, robbery, hit and run, gang enhancements, use of a knife during a carjacking, and great bodily injury enhancement. Andrew Brand, attempt murder, carjacking, robbery, hit and run, gang enhancements. Jesus Morales, attempted murder, carjacking, robbery, hit and run, and gang enhancements. Cristina Luna, attempted murder, carjacking, robbery, hit and run, gang enhancements. And Monica Gomez, attempted murder, carjacking, robbery, hit and run, and gang enhancements. The investigation was successful for several reasons. First of all, multiple concerned neighborhood sources provided information almost immediately, including surveillance video, which was essential in positively identifying the suspects and corroborating the facts involved in the crime. This investigation is also an example of really strong investigative police work by gang enforcement details and detectives from 2 different divisions throughout the city of Los Angeles. It's a great example of policing with partnerships both inside and outside of the Los Angeles Police Department. We would not have been able to arrest these suspects for their horrific crimes so quickly if it were not for the immediate assistance of the victims, the community, and the cooperation between the 2 divisions. As a final note from me, we believe that this incident was an isolated incident. We have no similar crimes in the area, and the victim seems to have been chosen at random. Sunland is a very safe community, and as this morning, overall Part 1 crime is actually down in Foothill Division by 14.3%. That being said, we are still providing an extra measure of service to that community. We are putting extra focus and patrols in the area to ensure the community is safe and place the community at ease. Again, all 5 suspects are in custody and will be vigorously prosecuted for their heinous crimes. At this point, I'd like to introduce Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez from Council District 7, who has some words.
Good morning, and thank you, Captain, for capturing everything that transpired so tragically last week. I have been in communication with the family, and our hearts continue to be with Miss Wynn and her family through this tragedy. I'm here today to really celebrate and acknowledge the work of our incredible police officers and how they have such an outstanding cooperative relationship working together to help identify and apprehend the perpetrators of this crime. It's really tragic that in a community like Sunland, a very peaceful, quiet community, that this random act of violence would so senselessly and tragically occur. And for this family, this young family that is just beginning to have to endure this kind of trauma so early in Miss Wynn's pregnancy is really especially tragic for me as a mom. To have to imagine what that might be like is just horrific. And so I want to thank the members of our LAPD divisions, both Foothill and Hollenbeck, for doing such an outstanding job. I also want to thank, I was with one of the members of our LA City Fire Department this morning that responded to the call within minutes to help tend to Miss Wynn's injuries, and I am happy that she is on the road to recovery. But again, I want to make special note that, again, if not for the support and cooperation of the community to also provide some of the critical information that is so often necessary for us to be able to pursue and capture perpetrators of crimes. We unfortunately have incidents too, which occurred in Silmar 1, also in Sunland Tahunga, where we have not successfully been able to capture the criminals, and the families still have not had justice served. So we seek the community's cooperation and support. If they see something, please say something, report it. If you capture it, please report it and share it with LAPD, so that we are able to assure our communities are safer and that we stand in the way of more crimes of opportunity occurring in our communities and disturbing the sanctity of our neighborhoods. So again, my hat's off to our incredible work of both Foothill and Hollenbeck in helping to capture these individuals, and look forward to this family having justice served. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. At this time, I'd also like to introduce the Assistant Commanding Officer, Operations Valley Bureau, Commander Alan Hamilton.
Good morning. So I'd like to give a couple of messages today. Primarily, I want to address directly the officers that were involved in the Los Angeles Police Department command staff that were instrumental in making sure this investigation continues forward to a successful resolution. Captain Dave Grimes, Captain Vic Stabile, and Captain Brian Winley of both the Foothill Station and the Hollenbeck Station were instrumental in making sure this investigation continued forward. So I'd like to publicly acknowledge them for their hard work and the hard work of their people in ensuring that this terrible incident was brought to a successful conclusion, and the suspects were removed from the street. I'd also like to say to the community, thank you very much for being a great partner with the Los Angeles Police Department. The community involvement in this instance was instrumental and very important in terms of bringing a successful conclusion and getting these gang members off the street and preventing further vicious crimes from occurring throughout the community. Without that community partnership with the Los Angeles Police Department, these investigations are very difficult to bring to a successful conclusion. So I want to thank the community for becoming involved immediately. We had so much community support when this crime occurred that it was difficult for the detectives to even keep up with it, and that's the way all of these investigations should be. And as the council member said, you know, we have other investigations in Foothill area and throughout the valley where we are always seeking the public's help. And if you do see something, we do ask that you say something. And lastly, I'd like to make sure that criminal suspects that plan on coming to the San Fernando Valley and the Los Angeles area to commit crime, they have to understand that this is the kind of response they're going to get when vicious crimes like this are perpetrated in the community. The Los Angeles Police Department will bring every resource to bear to remove these predators from the street and to make sure that justice is served. Thank you very much for coming out this morning.
Thank you, Commander. And I just want to point out for all you here to video this, you have about 20 officers behind you. They were all involved in this investigation, and it couldn't have been done without all of you guys. So thank you very much for your hard work. Thank you for your incredible investigation, for working with the community, for finding the evidence, and for taking these people into custody. At this time, if you have any questions, we can answer a few questions.
Are the officers here that spotted them in Holmba?
Yes. Yes, the officers are here.
Can they just share the actual encounter?
Pardon me?
Can they share the encounter and how they, because they remember these guys from out here over there.
Yeah. Stand by. You okay with that?
Name, sir?
Officer Abel Cepeda.
So you spotted them. Tell us about that encounter.
Like everyone said prior, there was basically the best teamwork we had. The photo officers, I got in contact with Officer Chad Butler and Steve Underwood, who were primary on the initial call. They contacted me, let me know about the vehicle that was involved initially. They gave me the vehicle info, in which there was a plate that was not a California plate, but a paper plate. As the night progressed, they started giving me photos, letting me know this suspect was involved, that suspect was involved. My partners that I worked with that night, we all recognized them as hazard gang members, and we quickly responded to the area that we believed they were going to be at, and we took them into custody without incident.
They're known gang members. Did you know of them, or any of you guys know of them?
Yes, sir. To be honest, it happened so quickly. As soon as we got the photos of the suspects, we turned the corner and they were there.
In the vehicle?
They were coming out of the location where we knew that they would be hanging out of, and we took two of them into custody that night without incident.
You say you got the photos. You were getting them in your car at the time you saw them coming out, or you already had pictures?
We were getting photos through our emails, as far as LAPD emails. That's how we sent photos to each other, and we basically were able to identify right away